So we're gonna pick up a couple of weeks of game time after the end of the last session. Things have calmed down in the Fellow Three system. It's been some fairly uneventful shore leave. Jonas, you've had a chance to put together the was it a wave rider that you were working on?
Yes, a wave rider based on ancient Bajoran solar tech.
Okay. Uh, I'm gonna I'm gonna say you've actually had enough time to put that together, finish assembling it, and have prepared it for kind of a test run on the Delphine homeworld.
Okay.
So, how many people can this thing carry?
It can fit one comfortably and two, as long as they're holding onto the rigging, it would fit two just as comfortably. No more
Okay.
than two, though. Three is stretching it.
Okay. So, what I'd like to do is I'd like to start this scene aboard your wave rider with you and the captain, if that's okay with y'all.
Sure.
Yeehaw.
So, Bianca, this is a bit of a different experience from the sailboats that you God, I don't want to say flew because that's certainly not right. That you sailed when you were at Starfleet Academy. It's kind of a different experience, but uh, you're not entirely sure what to make of it.
So let me get this straight. These sails actually use solar energy?
Yeah, they do. It's from an old Bajoran design. One of their very first ships to arrive at Cardassia Prime, actually.
Wow, they made it all the way from the Bajoran home system to Cardassia Prime? Just on
They
solar.
did.
That's crazy.
Without warp either.
I can't imagine. Must have taken years.
I actually, out of character, I don't remember the time it took. Is that something that my character
Or
would
months.
know?
Probably months, probably more like.
It is something that your character would know based on research, because this ship that Benjamin Sisko built along with his son Jake was able to make the trip to Cardassia in a matter of days, and most of that time was just sailing out of Bajor. But they hit kind of a warp current in space that carried them from Bajor to Cardassia.
It actually, Captain, it only took them a matter of days. There was a recreation of the ship flown by Benjamin Sisko of DS9. He and his son recreated it and flew it and managed to catch a type of warp current that took them from Bajor to Cardassia.
Wow, incredible. That's wow. That's gonna have to be on my bucket list now. Not gonna lie.
It's something I'm looking forward to attempting myself. I've actually got the schematics for how to build one of the ships in my quarters.
Well, we certainly have the room. I mean, I don't know when we'll get back to DS9 or Bajor, for that matter, but
It's there at least if it ever happens. And hey, this is based off of that technology, so it's at least expanding things.
Yeah, for sure. It's just totally different from anything I've ever done in terms of rigging and.
Now, is your Wave Rider set up the same way as the Lightship, or is it like a different design?
I had an image saved. Let me see if I can find it really quick.
Sure. I'm looking for images of it as well.
Okay, so it's I do not have the original image I saved, but I did a quick search, and it's something like this, except except the board is a bit longer, and plus all the equipment and everything.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, that's fair.
So they can stand comfortably and hold on to the rigging of the sail and everything, and life jackets and everything. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah, what Bianca's more used to is like a 3-meter.
Yeah, and the original Lightship was somewhat larger.
Or not a 3-meter. Like a 20-footer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like 6 or 7 meter.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a pretty ship. I love looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
The Lightship, or?
Yeah, the light ship.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, because they're using the sun instead of like photons, basically, instead of the wind. Bianca's like, she's kind of just like, she's not used to it, so she's like trying to fight her instincts to do certain things because of the wind.
I'm kind of presuming at the moment that the Wave Rider is kind of stationary right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the only thing that really is left to be done is to actually give it a test.
Yep. So, Captain, do you want to see how fast this thing can go?
Oh, I'd love you to show me.
All right. Let's see how this does.
All right. So, how do you actually manipulate the speed and direction of this craft?
There are feet modules on the bottom that you can. It's basically like not a gas pedal per se, but by the amount of pressure you can push down on it, it would be the amount of speed that the engine. Yeah, I guess engine would shuttle you forward.
Okay, so it is kind of like an accelerator then.
Mm.
Okay, so these are like controls that you sit down at, basically?
No, you can be fully used while standing up. It's just based on the amount of pressure you're putting down with your feet.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Let's have you give me a. Let's make this Control Con, and I'll let you set the difficulty depending on like how are you kind of playing it safe? Are you trying to do some fancier maneuvering?
Probably take it safe to start with, and then we can do something fancy.
Okay, so we'll start with difficulty 0. Which means if you don't want to roll, you don't have to.
And generate momentum. It'll help us out.
Okay.
I'm assuming my small craft, the focus applies here.
Yeah, I'll let that apply here. That or your ancient technology, either or.
Okay, cool. And since I'm doing... nope, never mind. All right, so here we're just going to roll.
Okay.
I was about to say cautious con, but wait, we have no momentum.
Correct. All right, 2 successes. Good, it's a good start. So you just kind of take it out of the bay that you see here on the screen and into deeper water. And Bianca, he's manipulating controls at the toward the bow of the boat. I think that's the forward end. Yeah. Sorry, bear with me.
You're fine.
So you watch as Jonas manipulates some controls toward the bow of the boat, and the small craft just kind of takes off out into the deeper water. Feels rather smooth, but then, as you can see, the water itself is fairly smooth at the moment.
So far, so good.
Well, and Bianca's just kind of marveling because, like the wind is calm, so she's just like, how work? She understands, but she also is like, this is so weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the next check would be something to add a lot more speed and see if they can do some sharp turns.
Okay. Let's make this... let's kick up the difficulty to 2 here.
This time I will take a momentum for cautious con if it's the same thing.
Yep. It is the same roll.
All right.
Five successes. Holy cow. All right. So, yeah, you kick this thing up to speed, and Bianca, you're kind of surprised at how smoothly it accelerates. It's almost like riding on a motorboat rather than riding on a sailboat, and with the fairly low activity on the water and in the air, it's just kind of enjoying the ride at this point.
That moves at a pretty good clip.
It does. I'd love to see what it could do on a wave, if we had any. But I don't know if we should push our luck.
Maybe not this trip.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I had to go back and tell Dauntless I went wave riding on an actual wave, she might confine me to the med bay.
On that note, let's go up to the med bay, because that's where Dauntless, I suspect, has been spending most of their spare time anyway, despite the fact that the Dauntless has been on shore leave.
I took a day of rest. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, just a single day. Nothing more than that.
No need to be frivolous. So I've probably spent some time reorganizing things and then reorganizing the reorganizing.
Trying to squeeze the last possible point of efficiency out of the med bay's procedures, and like if we put these hypo sprays 2 meters closer to the entrance, we'd have them available in an emergency situation. But also, let's put some of this equipment over here so that it's so that it improves the efficiency of surgical operations by 0.2%.
Basically, yeah.
You also find yourself going through the personnel files and noting that a number of personnel are due for medical examinations.
Oh, fun.
Including the captain, the first officer, and the ship's new chief engineer.
Well, I know the captain is busy. Do I know where Shiana is?
You could probably ask the ship's computer.
Computer, where is the location of Commander Darrow?
Shiana, where would you be right about now? Shore leave kind of getting ready to wrap up, but it's been going on for a little while.
Oh, Shiana's still, like, soaking in shore leave.
Okay.
Yeah, she and Plakir are still,
Gotcha.
like enjoying their time away.
Commander Shiana Darrow is not aboard the USS Dauntless.
I make a note to contact both her and Bianca at a later time. And then I will just start going through the list and being like, at your earliest possible convenience, please see me in the med bay. And just sending those out to the various crewmen and ensigns and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I haven't met Lieutenant Commander Ron, right?
Correct.
Okay.
At least not to the best of my knowledge. Yeah, no.
What do I know about her based on her medical file? Or them, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah, no, her. You know that she's Trill joined. She is... Jezza is the 4th host, if I recall correctly.
No, I think I'm the 5th.
5th, okay. Newly transferred from Starbase 372. She does have a prosthetic leg, but otherwise is in excellent health.
Prosthetic as in simple, or is it cybernetic?
I think it's a cybernetic leg, right?
Yes.
Ooh. I will definitely make note of that. As an extra thing to check for. And then I will attempt to... I will send her a ping. I'm not gonna calm her, but I'm gonna send her at your earliest possible convenience, please visit the medbay.
Okay. So, Jesse, you have been neck deep in the Dauntless's engineering systems for a good chunk of the last 2 weeks, just kind of getting acquainted with the ship and with the ins and outs. Having been on a few postings before the Dauntless, you know that every ship and every starbase has its own peculiarities. Dauntless in particular has an advanced quantum slipstream drive, which the previous chief engineer actually helped develop. And he's been chewing your ear off, basically kind of letting you know how this thing runs, what's been done to it in the past. Apparently, the Dauntless crew used it to travel back in time, which you didn't think was even possible. So that's where you are when you get a ping from the chief medical officer.
Hold on, I gotta look at like characters. Like,
Yeah.
I'm the scary looking one.
I can't remember who the former chief engineer was.
Uh,
I've
that
forgotten the name.
that would be Dash.
Dash. Okay. Shit, where
I don't think he has a sheet.
Hang on, I'm fairly sure he does. It's under
I was like,
NPCs.
I don't know.
Yeah, here we go.
There he is. I found him. Okay. Sorry, Lieutenant Commander Jag. The doctor just called me. I should go to the med bay.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll be down here.
Yep.
As long as I can get away with it.
I will know where to find you. And then she tries to like beeline as quickly as possible.
Okay, so considering the amount of Dauntless, just the number of meters and the number of decks that Jessa had to cross, Dudley, you're surprised at how quickly she arrives at sickbay.
So yeah, when you walk into sick bay, it looks like your general sick bay, but it's like attempting to be homey in a way that is like the person thinks that this is inviting because they read it somewhere, but they don't fully understand like the purposes of it.
So it's like when white people try to do feng shui.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, basically.
So there's like way too many flowers and just random knickknacks in an attempt to be like, oh, this is a doctor's office.
Yeah,
we know how to be a doctor's office here.
And there's like
office?
medical like print out like medical charts and like paintings of like star charts and stuff like to try and distract from like the bleak wall.
I feel like this is a person who got their idea of what a doctor's office is from like sitcoms.
Or from an emergency
Correct.
medical hologram.
Correct.
Oh, good. Even better.
So as you walk in and you're kind of like, what the fuck? Out of the like sort of section where the private office is, you see this woman who looks kind of Romulan-esque with very long hair, surprisingly, that's pulled into a braid, and it's like the opposite of Rogue, where like everything is white except for like certain black streaks. And she has a cybernetic arm and looks like a liberated Borg.
Positive.
Are you Lieutenant Commander Jezeran?
Yes.
And I will like indicate a bio bed for you to sit on.
Is this gonna take a long time?
No, it's a simple routine diagnostic.
Gotcha. So she'll get on the bed and kind of kick her one leg, the fake leg.
And I will do some basic scans.
Okay.
Make sure the symbiote is good. Make sure she's good.
Okay. I'm going to make this difficulty 0, so you don't have to roll if you don't want to, but it will be
I
reason.
want to roll.
Okay, reason medicine. And the ship will assist using computer's medicine.
Okay.
Computer's medicine?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming my xenobiology focus applies.
Yes, it does.
I am, in fact, an alien.
Okay, there's 3.
successes.
And 2 more from the ship. So, Jezza appears to be in very good health. Her body is not rejecting the symbiont nor the prosthetic leg. The leg itself appears to be in working order, along with the rest of her immune system, circulatory system, nervous system. So, yeah.
Are you currently experiencing any symptoms I should be aware of? Headache, fatigue.
Well, I mean, headache from being lectured at for the first time since Starfleet Academy, but no, otherwise. All parts are functioning, replacement or not.
Yes, it seems so. Your maintenance on your cybernetic prosthetic is impacted.
I do a little bit myself here and there. When I can't do it myself, I go get it done properly, but consider it a side hobby, keeping myself in working order.
You just get like an understanding nod.
Sorry, what?
I just give you an understanding nod.
Gotcha.
I will be your chief medical officer for the duration of your stay aboard the Dauntless. However, I am aware that several members of the crew find my services somewhat lacking. So if you would require a different medical professional to attend to your needs, please let me know and I will transfer you to their care.
I see no reason yet.
Well, that is a relief to hear. And if you are looking for a way to escape from Lieutenant Dash's incessant nattering, he does like Romulan ale on occasion.
Good to know. I'm sure I don't know where to find that, but
Not as hard to come by as it was a few years ago, so.
Years ago.
oh yeah, no, that was entirely snarky on her part.
Yeah,
Mm.
but there's a fair amount of Romulan suddenly.
What's on this ship? Absurd.
Oh, I suppose I should introduce myself, and I will extend my hand. You can call me Dahli. Most people do. I also respond to 19.
Which do you prefer?
Either.
All right.
They literally mean the exact same thing in 2 different languages.
That's That's fair. There's still always occasionally, I guess always and occasionally don't really work together, do they? Hmm. It occasionally is a preference. But if you don't care, maybe I'll switch between them until I figure out one that works best.
I would find that interesting.
Is there anything else you need?
Not really. I just wanted to introduce myself and ensure that you were all right after your trip.
Wonderful. Is there anywhere I can go? I mean, I assume everyone's down on doing shore leave. I don't know where they are shore leave wise.
I believe that there are several destinations on the planet below that people have decided to vacate to. I'm certain that the transporter room has various locations that they could suggest.
I just feel like I really need to get away from the chatter.
Well, if you do not wish to leave the ship, there is the holodeck.
True, there is always that. We'll see. Anyway, I guess thank you for calling me in. That's awkward, isn't it? I should go now.
Of course. Have yourself a good day.
You too. And then she like hops up and just books it.
Just power
Like-
walks
like-
out.
Bye!
Walks
All
If
right.
the camera were to like pan back, you would just see like a very bewildered half Borg just like staring at the place that you just.
All right. So, where would Rye be right about now? Would he be partaking in shore leave as well?
Oh, we've been here a week?
At least.
Oh, jeez. I feel like Rye would get bored after that.
Okay.
He's not good at pretending to be normal. So, I'm probably...
Science
I'm on
lab, then.
shore leave. I'm on shore leave in the ship.
Okay.
I just don't see, like, my character really hiking too terribly long. Like, I feel like I report for duty, but I'm not on duty. I just put on my uniform and go futz around. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. All right. We will swap over to astrometrics, which is where you find yourself putzing around for a bit. And you're looking at some of the data that Dauntless has collected from the probe that Jonas launched to track the Gormagander-like beings.
Space whales.
The space whales, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
And it's recorded some unusual activity.
Okay. What define unusual activity? I'm not sure what normal activity for space whales is.
That
My
is
character might, but-
that is entirely fair. Zealand ships had approached the Gormagander beings, the pod, ran a suite of sensor operations, and looked like they were starting to shepherd the pod out of the ring system where it was located, except that they abruptly left. Like, in the
Gotcha.
middle of their shepherding operation, they turned and warped out.
Gotcha. We're in Federation space.
Yeah, you're in the Felothrene system at the moment, which is now Federation space.
If I wanted to, is there some sort of endangered species space act where I could somewhat bring up to the captain, like, hey, these people were messing with the species, maybe we should go check it out? Like, is there some sort of jurisdictional way other than I'm a board science officer? Like, I could bring it up.
I mean, you could bring it up simply because the Zealand and the Federation have not been on the best of terms.
There you go. All right, there you go. That's all I need. So I'm going to take some notes. I'm not going to bother the captain right now, but I'm sure the captain's got even on shore leave every now and again his office hours, or hell, even the first officer. That'll be off for a talk to her. Why not? Sure. So I will schedule not immediately, but soonish. You know what I mean? To my character, this is a curiosity more than an emergency.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm washing my hair on Tuesday. Better make it Wednesday or whatever. So that's even if it's the plot, it can happen whenever. But my character's not that excited about it. Just I should probably look into that because the Zealand are being a little weird. And I remember Jonas kind of caring about this.
Yeah.
So during my normal, actually, because I'm the chief science officer, I'm sure I have a normal report. So I plan to bring this up.
Like a daily report, yeah.
Yeah, on the next staff meeting would actually incidentally be with the chief operations officer or the XO, which would be Commander Darrow.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my plan.
Okay. And speaking of Commander Darrow, we go back to the surface of the Delphine homeworld. Where you and Placaire are figuratively, if not literally, coming up for air.
Let's say literally. Little scuba diving. Why not?
Yeah, all right, cool.
Not a thing that I myself have ever done or want to do, but I'm sure that Shiana enjoys it greatly.
You know what? It is probably... I would say it's probably not Shiana's first time, but probably one of a handful of times she's done it. And it is certainly a first for Placaire.
Oh, fun.
This is a new experience. I'm not sure I like only having so much air available to me. I like to take breathing for granted.
Maybe you just haven't spent enough time in a spacesuit on a derelict station with no atmosphere. Oh wait, that is a thing we did once.
Once. I will be happy never to have to do it again.
Oh, where's your sense of adventure?
I'll try anything once. And she kind of smirks. More than once if I really like it.
Shiana splashes water at her. Oh, more than once, huh?
I did say if I really like it.
Oh, do I qualify as really like?
And she kind of splashes water back. What do you think?
I don't know. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell. Big wink.
Oh, a little hard to tell. She kind of makes like she's going to splash water at you, but instead actually moves to, grapple you. And so the two of you kind of start, I don't know, horseplaying, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, that works. And I would say that Shiana's got the upper hand here, being slightly more used to being aquatic.
Possibly, yeah. Let's do a daring security check.
Okay.
Beat your girlfriend in glorious combat.
Glorious marine combat.
Hey, all combat is combat. Everything's
That's right.
competition.
It's the space lesbian fight.
Totally.
It was daring security.
Yeah. And 1 is the number to beat. And boy howdy. So, yeah, she's a Klingon, which gives her a physical edge, but years of combat, Shiana, have honed you. And even underwater and zero, between your knowledge of underwater and zero gravity fighting techniques, you definitely do have an upper hand.
Okay, so oh gosh, I had to like make this like be fun and not like it looks like I'm trying to kill my girlfriend. Because it's so not it.
No, it's
Okay.
a fun thing. It's
Yeah,
you've
so
got
totally-
control of the
okay,
narrative
so
here.
like so we've got maybe like headlock. Like she's
Uh-huh.
got Pluck here in headlock. And they're like mostly like just like heads above water.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, do you want to revise that statement?
Let's see. She kind of tries to wriggle out of the headlock, and let's have her roll for that, and actually disappears under the surface of the water. And you don't think anything.
So are we like in clear water, basically, like good visibility?
Yes. So you wait for a couple of seconds and you don't see anything at all.
You murdered her.
Did not. At least I hope not.
Okay.
I mean, what?
Well, I'm
Give me
sorry
a,
I beat you in aquatic combat, and Shanna dives down just to see if she can find Placare.
She has somehow gotten one of her feet pinned underneath a rock. She is struggling to free herself from it. Under the water.
Okay, how big of a rock is it?
Big enough that she is not able to free herself from it alone. If you were to try and move it, it would be a fitness security check. I'm going to say the difficulty is 3.
All right, can I take a momentum, y'all?
Go for it.
Yeah, y'all are maxed.
I turned push talk on and it's being mean to me now. But you mean take a momentum to save your girlfriend? Oh no!
3 successes.
I think I made the difficulty there.
You certainly did.
So Shanna dives down and heaves
composes
said rock.
Yeah, composes herself, like lifts said rock out of the way, kind of using the ground to brace herself. And as you do, Placare swims back up to the surface in a near panic, like panting when her mouth breaks the water's surface.
Shanna follows and she said, hey, it's okay. I got you. You're good. I got you.
And she just gives you this look where, like, you can see the panic fading from her eyes, replaced with gratitude and
love. Okay, well, Let's call it a day for the water, huh? I think I know where there's a bed. Just the perfect size for us.
Now that's more my speed, she says.
It's time for the space beings to get it on. Apparently.
We are going
Why
to.
do I have the best mental image of Rye standing outside of Shanna's room, like finger poised to press the button, as like Shanna and Flakir round the corner, push him out of the way, and walk into the room with the doors closed.
Oh my god, that would be funny. I'm actually going to
Sorry,
advance.
Commander, is this a bad time to talk about space whales?
Is this a bad time to
Absolutely.
talk? Ah! I'm going to advance the timeline a couple of days here so that shore leave has ended. We're going to go back onto the bridge. And hopefully this is the right bridge scene. Yes, it is. Okay, good. Right, this is the first time the entire senior staff has been back on the ship, so this is probably the best opportunity you have had to discuss your findings. Also, Dash is here, kind of sitting in on his last briefing as chief engineer.
Gotcha. So Dash is here, but not our newfound friend, Commander Ryan?
No, Ron. No, she would be here as well.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I recognize Ron now, so we'll catch up later. So I'm totally gonna bury the lead, just because my character's it's more. This is a curiosity, more for Jonas than anything else. So I will give the full science report, and it will be the second to last thing I mention.
Okay.
So just so in the narrative, I'm like, oh yeah, there's so many particles of space dust per cubic meter, solar flares, yada yada yada, and the other day when I was so what's the name of that alien race again? The guys we don't like the
Zealand.
Zealand, thank you.
Yep.
So with my wiry smile, after I get that, and to conclude that, the labs are operating at peak efficiency, Captain. In addition, while I had some free time on shore leave, I followed those, for lack of a better term, or at least our colloquial term, our space whales. I discovered that the Zealand had been essentially corralling them to, I'll pull up the star chart, to this sector here, and followed them for some time and then suddenly warped off. Since the Zealand are
antagonistic?
An antagonistic species in the region, and given Starfleet Protocol 317 subsection 5 in regards to native space life, it seems that might be something, if we have time, Captain, especially with Jonas's, excuse me, I will not say Jonas, I say Lieutenant Carden's particular interest in it. I thought I'd bring it up here. If it's something, if we don't have any pressing orders from Starfleet, might want to get within a closer sensor range of here, see if I can figure out what's going on. If anything, to file it in the report of the Zealand's activities in the region. He will finish and kind of give a knowing nod to Lieutenant Carden of it's his pet project, but I'm getting his back on it.
Jonas has that look of when a meerkat first comes up out of a hole in the ground. That he's very interested in everything that's being said, right? And Lieutenant Commander Rai has become his favorite person in the moment.
So, and then he'll finish it up with his last little bit of boring science stuff, and then turn it over to whoever's next. I'm seeing that Bianca's listed that she's highlighted.
Yeah, she said she
talking.
just got back.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Sarah, are you muted? Hang on, technical difficulties. Okay, well, you might need to disconnect and reconnect because no one can hear what you're saying.
Sorry about that, y'all.
There you go.
There you go.
Definitely awkward silence that read to me of why the fuck are you bringing up Facebook?
Sorry, I missed most of the conversation because my cat is being a pain in the ass.
So to Lieutenant Commander Rye has found some interesting information, and he kind of disclosed it, wherein the Zealand were kind of shepherding these Gormagander creatures, and then in the middle of whatever they were doing, came about and warped out of the system.
Weird. Well, I think it definitely merits checking out. Can the Zealand just can't help but meddle with everything. Can't.
It's almost as if they think they own the place.
Right?
Oh, also we lost Steph. Where'd they go? Speaking of technical difficulties.
Oh, I didn't even hear that dropout sound.
Am I the only one who noticed? No, noticed? What?
Nudist.
Is there any way that Cetacean Ops or Delphine could check in with the I'm gonna say it wrong. The Gormagant.
If you're asking my character, I'm like, well, possibly, but I'm not a biologist, and I will turn to our medical officer who has dropped off the call right now to assume her medical expertise will be able to tell me whether or not they can do that. Or whatever biologist on my team is perhaps sitting in on the meeting too.
How far are we from the planet where, the ring planet where they were, and then the Zealand bugged out from?
About a minute and a half at Slipstream.
Okay, well, give it to me in light years.
I think it was 70.
Yeah.
Okay, so the same place, where they. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's the system where Jonas dropped off the probe.
Because I got this information through the probe, actually, yeah. So it makes sense. Narratively.
Yes. Well, I do love poking around and seeing what trouble the Zealand are getting up to.
It could be nothing of note, Captain, but if anything, it'll add more detail to the report of the Zealand activities.
Right. Alrighty. Let's set a course. See what we can find out.
I will turn to the chief operations officer, to the crew member we have that can communicate with them, to have them liaison. Liaison with the science team?
Catalea.
I'm not sure. Yeah,
Would probably be your best bet, because this is these beings are not closely related to the whale probe that visited the Delphine homeworld. At least not that you all are aware of.
Well, it's if anything, it's going to look good on this crew member's, resume that they were helping on this. So I'm going to make reference to whoever's in charge of personnel, whether it's Commander Darrow or the Chief Operations Officer. Like, let's get this person somewhere where they can give us reports. Put them on duty.
Okay. All right, so Jonas, let's have you make a control con roll, assisted by the Dauntless. Dauntless will be rolling structure con. Difficulty is 3.
All right, I will take if it's okay with everyone, I will grab a momentum for cautious con.
Yep. There's
And
2.
I will.
You're re-rolling the 0?
Re-roll that 0 just
Okay.
in case.
All right, there's your 3. Who's rolling for Dauntless?
Not it, guys. Somebody else.
You can give me
Are
a
we
second.
touching noses now? Is that what's going on?
Hold on,
No,
hold on.
it's just I do very badly when I roll for the ship.
Yeah, give me a second. I was just away from the computer real fast.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
And a bunch of stuff has popped up. So roll for the Dauntless. What am I rolling?
You're rolling structure con.
Structure con. Yes, sir. Structure con already on it. Just rolling 1 die.
Yep.
All right.
All right, and the ship earns back the momentum. So you all are on your way. If this
We've
players thing won't...
entered slips. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying... no, you go ahead. I'm good.
We've entered slipstream safely, Commander. Captain. Too much Mass Effect. I'm getting my names mixed up.
I will be... I'll be right back, y'all.
That's good.
Sorry, I had to put my drawers back together.
That's all right.
How dare you have to clean up after your brat cat?
She's being such a brat tonight. I don't know what's gotten into her. Normally, she's really eager to please, so like she normally behaves, even though it's very difficult because she really wants the foods. But yeah, now she's like looking for food. So she exhausted her options with my parents, so now she came up here to terrorize me. And I still had my dinner that I was eating when we first started. And so I had to take that downstairs because she was getting into it. And then she started opening the drawers, my little cubbies, trying to find more food before I chased her out.
All right, I am back, and we are still missing Steph. I think their internet may have dropped out on them, unfortunately.
She's probably rebooting her PC or something like that.
That's entirely possible. Do y'all want to like take an official break and give them a couple of minutes?
I'm standing by, ready to go, but
All right,
I'm
yeah.
just cooking popcorn and
Let-
stuff. So.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I could go check out and see
Yeah.
what actual food there is.
Let's take
Yeah.
let's take 5 and give Steph a chance to come back in real quick.
Yeah,
So
Okay.
How's it going over there, Regan? No, she's just like, nah, I don't feel like that.
I think she went to find aforementioned food.
Was that her? That's fine.
Okay, Steph's computer exploded. Not literally, I don't think, but...
Hello?
Hey!
Hi.
Yeah,
You're back.
all of a sudden my computer just went "Meow," and then shut off, and I was like, cool.
Yikes.
Hey, anyone want to send me a new computer?
Oh.
If I could afford to send you a new computer, I would have so many new parts in mine.
Word.
You had to get
Paul-
a new one recently.
Paul got me a graphics card for Christmas, and it's great, except that I need a way
Need
better
more RAM?
power supply. No, I need a
okay.
better power supply.
Yep.
So that's fun. So I can't install it yet.
I just buy because I can't computer. I just buy the pre-made stuff.
That's fair.
Yeah, you can pre-made and then upgrade them. You can just pay someone to upgrade it. Like,
Yeah, one of my exes and I ordered my current computer from PC Specialist. You just put in all the bits you want.
I did Digital Storm
you.
Online a couple years
then-
ago. Like that.
But so now it's I can switch out my parts. So when I moved back from the UK, my power supply didn't work anymore because it was an English power supply that worked on English voltage. So it wouldn't even turn on.
Yeah,
So I had to go buy a new
Yeah.
power supply.
50
Rude.
pulses of electricity compared to 60.
Fucking rude.
It was very rude. But it means that I now know how to change bits out of my computer.
And the power supply is the most complicated piece of anything that you can replace in a computer, really. Like that and the motherboard.
Well, hopefully this one will last me a few more days till I can get out across town to the storage unit where my unopened one I bought last year on Black Friday.
I hope
is
so.
Sitting.
I will send you good computer juju. May the smoke not escape from it. Because the smoke is what makes it work, and when the smoke escapes, it doesn't work anymore. True facts.
It's just like now I can't even try and watch a Twitch stream.
Ugh.
Like I try and watch a Twitch stream and my computer goes, nope, that takes too much power. We're just gonna crash, and I'm like, cool story.
Like, it's the fucking worst. Like, how are you supposed to how do you ADHD when your computer can't do multiple things at once?
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Hey, at least it's working right now. If it completely shut off, my phone is now too old to install Discord. So
How is your... What?
my Android is on 4.4 and refuses to update. Because it's an old Chinese piece of shit phone. Hey, living below the poverty line means the technology that you have to use is garbage.
Yep.
Yeah,
Been there.
I didn't have internet for a year because I couldn't afford it. And then I redid my budget and was like, oh, look, I can actually afford internet. But it's not like I'm rolling in the dough.
Right.
If there's somebody here who is rolling in the dough, I would like to know who it is and how the fuck you did it.
Right.
Be
and moreover, when are you going to invite the rest of us to move in with you?
Yes, that's the next point.
All right. Are we ready to pick back up?
Yeah.
All right. So, after a short slipstream cruise, as it were, you drop out at the edge of the system where you had previously spotted the Gormaganders. A quick sensor scan reveals that they are still in the area.
Gotcha. What I do want to do is the Zealand. I want to just figure out where they went. Just follow their warp trail to their most likely destination.
Okay, let's do reason science for this role. Dauntless will assist with sensor science. The difficulty is going to be 1.
Sensor operations apply.
It does. Yep.
I've got the ship.
Okay.
Sounds good, good sir.
Y'all roll when you're ready.
We'll just go with it.
Okay, there's 2 and 4. And difficulty 1. So,
Alright, let's see if Roll20 will let me log back.
okay. If it doesn't, let me know, and I'll just, like, roll for you
Thanks.
as needed. So, the sensor scan determines the Zealand left for their home system. Dauntless Sky Survey 066. And they left in a hurry. It looks like they went at maximum warp.
What is our current momentum?
6.
6.
And you've got some floating too, which would be used first.
How much do I have floating?
3.
3?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to spend 2 to create an advantage.
Okay.
We're going to call it detailed scans of the Zindi, or not Zindi,
Zealand.
Zealand.
No worries.
Warp signatures.
Okay.
Yeah, so i.e., I would like, the benefit of it is easier to detect them coming into the system if they approach the ship, yada yada.
Okay.
That's going to pop up.
Yeah, I will say that for the remainder of this scene, if you detect you'll detect Zealand warp signatures approaching the system automatically. Like
Gotcha.
I won't
have
ask
a
you to
long
scan
warning.
for it.
Quote unquote. We'll have a long warning.
Yeah.
We'll have to raise shields or whatever.
Yeah, you'll have a minute or so warning. Easily.
Cool.
What if they didn't leave because of something here, but were called home?
That could entirely be true. Actually, on that note, I'm not sure how communications work in Star Trek because it's all extremely vague. I want to see if I can find that out. If I can have some sort of, because if it was sent, if I can detect not necessarily the details, but was a signal sent in this area by the Zealand? Were they called home or did they leave?
So,
My
using
information
your scan and your obtained information, I will say that is something you're able to determine. It does look like a subspace signal was sent out moments before the Zealand left.
Well, who said that? Was it the captain or?
No, that was the Commander Darrow.
Well, Commander, seems your instincts right there. I do detect the residual ion particles of a subspace message sent to this area. I can't reconstitute the message, but it seems to match up with the half-life of their decaying warp particles. So they were probably contacted minutes before they warped out of the system. So you might be correct. Regardless, I've calibrated the ship sensors to let us know if the Zealand come within so many light years of our position. We should have advance warning.
Oh, good. Thank you, Commander. Captain, I think that we might have a Zealand problem brewing.
Tell me something I don't know.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we just got to figure out what kind. And the severity, you know.
Could we do like a long range scan and see if there are other Zealand ships that bugged out and went home?
You mean aside from the ones that were in this system?
Yeah, can we get in touch with like the Yorktown or somebody else? Like, have they picked up other Zealand ships suddenly leaving whatever little spot they were in?
Yeah, you could check with other ships in the task force. That'd be just a matter of hailing them.
I would like to do that.
Okay. So I'm actually going to say, just as you're suggesting this, the Dauntless gets an incoming communique from the Shroud.
Commander, incoming communication.
On screen.
And it goes up onto the screen.
Okay. onto the screen pops the strikingly Diego Luna-like face of Varric Santiago. I just got a laugh out of Katie from that one. So, Captain, we just got the most interesting set of readings from the Zealand across the sector.
Oh, well, your timing couldn't have been more, eerie? Because we just tracked Zealand suddenly warping out of the system for no good reason over here.
I think I may be able to fill in a little bit of the blanks. He pulls up and puts on the screen a tactical display of the border of Zealand space, and all along the border you see Zealand ships retreating to the home system. About 15 minutes ago would have been more than 15 minutes ago. A couple of days ago, we intercepted a message going out to Zealand vessels across their border outposts. Moments later, their ships departed. Now, just a few moments ago, we're starting to see their ships come back, but they're not the same ships.
What does that mean?
We're still analyzing some of the tactical data, but it's as if they did one sudden massive redeployment of their forces.
That could mean anything.
Sorry to interrupt. When you said that out of character, that their ships were the ships different, or like new designs, or were they just different classes of ships?
They are designs we haven't encountered before.
Do you have any scans of them? Any information?
Long-range sensors haven't been able to compile anything more than a what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, like a profile of the ships. We're still going.
Is there any obvious escalation of their deployments of force, or?
It's hard to tell. These ships are smaller, but they've deployed more of them.
Are they of a greater caliber or stronger design?
Again, we don't know yet. We're still collecting data.
Do we believe that the Zealand have the infrastructure to suddenly redeploy with all new ships?
Do we know what the message was that was sent to them?
The message itself was encrypted. We have not been able to make out what the message was, other than it was very short, only a few seconds.
Can we get a copy of the message?
Yes, I will send a copy to you now.
I'd like to try and figure out what it said.
Jonas would love to help you.
I mean, it's a puzzler to be sure, but I'm not sure it's a reason to go to red alert.
At least yellow alert, because even if we don't know about the intentions of what's happening, the fact that they've deployed an entirely new ship design, that's a bit unusual.
Oh, for sure. It's
If
just...
we can find a legal counter vessel, I cannot wait to take our advanced sensors and probe the vessel.
Well, Shiana wants all the tactical data, obviously, and I'm sure it's being sent with the comparison of what their deployment was along their borders before, and what it is now.
What is it to try and decrypt this message?
It is going to be... Let's take a look. I will say... Insight security.
Can I persuade you to let me use medicine and my psychology focus?
How would you go about using medicine to decipher an encrypted transmission?
Through psychology, and I've examined several Zealand already,
Mm-hmm.
and I know how their brains work, and just kind of like working backwards how I could infer they might encrypt things using their various biological and neurological build.
I'm going to say no on that one.
Damn it.
Sorry.
Okay. That's
If,
fine.
if I were to assist, what would I be rolling?
You'd be making the same roll.
Inside
Captain.
security?
Inside security. Would neurology or xenopsychology apply?
I could see where that would apply, yes.
I don't think I have any folks that would apply here unless you let me use attunement.
Yeah, no,
Nope,
I think
not
that
here.
if we were going to try and decrypt this, we would have to have Shiana and Rai look at it.
Yeah, that might be better because I don't want to mess this up and like destroy everything.
I want to try first, damn it. Gianna, do you want to help me?
Wait, what are we? We're trying to decode the message.
Correct.
All right, let me take a look
Which,
here.
like, legitimately, it should be the science officer, at
It's
least.
security.
Yeah,
Yeah,
decrypting an encoded transmission is definitely a security-focused task.
Incidentally, I'm actually really good at security.
Yeah, I will pass off my role, my aid role to somebody else who is much better at security.
Yeah, I think
I'm
incidentally,
rolling
about cracking a code.
14. So I don't
I'm
know
rolling at, if it's a reason, it is minimum 15 for me.
It's insight.
But yeah, it's insight. Okay, well that's not as good. I'm not as insightful, but I roll a 13 or a 14. If it's security, I roll.
Gianna, what do you roll for insight security?
13.
Yeah,
Okay.
both
so
of them are higher than I am.
Oh, let
So-
me see what Bianca's insight security is. Bianca's insight security is actually 14.
Captain and I?
Yeah.
Or Captain and Rye?
Yeah. If it's insight security, I'm rolling at a 14. Not really sure. Not sure if any of my focuses would apply. Forensics potentially. Infiltration maybe. Yeah.
I'm good to work with Rye.
Let me check something here real fast.
All right, so
Just hold on here. I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this is no, but check. Let me just pull something up real
All right.
fast.
I need y'all
I mean,
to
I will
kind of
ass-
make a decision
I
on
will-
this.
I will assist. I just may have something that makes my roll better. So I will absolutely assist, or can assist me. I just gotta check something. So, like, my number's a 14.
Actually, how
regardless
about,
of my
okay, Rai, you take the lead on it. I will assist.
Okay. Let me check the thing. Okay, it's specifically for combat tasks. So okay, cool. Yeah. All right. So I can do the insight and security. No problemo. My question is, would forensics or infiltration apply?
Not infiltration. On forensics, I'm also going to say no.
That's fine. That's fine. I mean, it's a stretch. I get it.
No, that's yeah.
It's a stretch. So my question is, then the next question is the computer assisting me in cracking this code?
Yeah. I'll say the Dauntless will assist with this using computer security.
Sounds good. So I get to re-roll. So, all right. So not totally bad for me. All right. So,
And Bianca is assisting too.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
So your difficulty is 3.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and roll here. Boom, boom.
There's 2.
All right. There's 2.
I'm useless. Let's see what Dauntless.
You're
comes
not
up with.
useless.
What does Dauntless need to roll?
Dauntless is rolling computer security. There's 1 success from the Dauntless. So the ship is rolling. The ship is rolling great tonight. I almost set on fire, but you all would not want that. So yeah, y'all made the difficulty.
Cool. Then I will.
Yeah, please no ship on fire.
I'm trying, guys. I'm trying.
Jess is all of a sudden paranoid with a fire extinguisher. Like, no ship on fire. So
on the flavor text level, I put in a couple of common cipher number combinations that are used by the Romulan Empire because we're really good at coding. And yep, it's just based. It's off the radar code system. Doop. That's a good idea, Captain. We'll go ahead and do that. Transpose these 2 numbers here, and voila.
And the message that comes up is succinct. It reads, "The Queen has died. Long live the Queen."
Oh.
That's not concerning.
Well, the good news is, Captain, it was brief.
The bad news is these fuckers have been reading Shakespeare, and we're really in trouble now.
Right?
Zealand are the ones that are like carapace buggy people, right?
Yeah, they're like wasps.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
Can I pass on the space wasps? That sounds on.
So basically,
How much
there's been an internal political shakeup.
I was actually about to ask that. Like, how much do we know about the Zealand?
Not much, actually.
Hey, we actually have someone who's a specialist in xenobiology.
Yeah. You may have learned more about the Zealand just from this encrypted message than you had known about them up to this point.
Because the thing is like, they haven't really been talkative. It's really kind of been a futile effort to establish a dialogue.
So, there's been some sort of political/biological shakeup. Is it possible the Queen... I mean, it might not be an intentional political shakeup. Someone might not have assassinated the Queen. The Queen might have just died.
Right.
But we have new vessels, or new configurations of vessels. Captain, if I may say, all I'm hearing is there's a lot of problems that a good sensor sweep will give us some information. Is that I could perhaps work with our new chief engineer to maybe reconfigure our sensors, try to boost the long-range sensor range, see if we can get any additional information without encroaching too much on their borders.
It's probably a good idea.
At the very least, it sounds like the worst situation we'll be in is the exact situation we're in now.
Right.
I believe you are, to put it bluntly, Commander Rye, you are not aware of what the loss of a structure and support system such as the Queen can bring to a group of people who rely on one.
I'm not simply saying that. I was simply implying that the political shakeup might not be intentional.
Be
Where
that
we
as
think
it
is
may.
that- I
To use
believe
the
that-
euphemism of poking the hornet's nest might be a poor choice of actions.
I have no intentions of poking the hornet's nest other than just boosting our long-range sensor distance to gain what information we can. I would rather know the hornets are coming than not know until they're on us.
They may simply be defending their planet due to some sort of cultural significance.
And it sounds like a sensor sweep would really reveal that information.
And as the two of you are talking, you kind of see Jonas's hand kind of go up.
I have two theories. Well, two suggestions. I agree with the need for a sensor sweep, but I also have a different opinion about what the message might mean.
Explain.
It said, "The queen has died, long live the queen." I'm not an expert on species such as these, but if a new type of ship has been put out, it's entirely possible that a new queen has already taken over and that they are adjusting themselves to the seat of power by throwing out their forces as the new forces.
Right. The same thought occurred to me.
If it's all right with you, Captain, I would like to try and see if I can hear anything to back this up with at least my sense of being able to listen.
It's probably a good idea. We should also probably do the sensor sweeps, just gathering intelligence.
If they're sending out more crafts, it's better safe than sorry.
Well, it might just be a change in doctrine with the change in power. We just don't know what the implications are. We don't know enough about Zealand society as it is.
It could be something as basic as a change of the guard. These other ships were maybe somewhat reliant on the old queen, and they return, and the ones that are reliant on the new queen are sent out.
It could also be something to when various species of bee reach a certain capacity. Once a queen leaves the nest or something along those lines, they create a swarm, which then leads to a new place for a new hive. This could be an attempt to find a new vantage point or a new population.
And I'm hearing a lot of these questions could potentially be answered with a sensor sweep.
Which we're going to do.
Okay, I wanted to make sure, because I feel like we have a lot of questions and the answer is more information.
Correct.
So, sensor sweep, and then Jonas would like to listen afterward.
Well, so my initial plan is potentially working with engineering, indicating our new commander, to try to boost our long-range sensors. So then, as the doctor has pointed, we don't necessarily poke the hornet's nest by physically getting too close. So we can perhaps modify the sensors in a little bit more of a narrow beam focus in a particular direction. I.e., let's make a check to try to get an advantage.
So for the best results in terms of doing a long range scan, you're still going to want to be closer than you are now, and probably the best vantage point for the Dauntless would be the Ciatina homeworld, because it's within a couple of light years of a Zealand outpost.
But it's also somewhere we can quote unquote legally go.
Exactly.
Cool. Yeah. Like I want to. That's my character. Like, let's go where we can go, get the best results. But as what the doctor said, let's not poke the hornet's nest. I'm not going to fire a probe up their tail end.
I said across her nose, not up it.
Exactly. That's the plan. So I will, Captain, if we head to these coordinates, that will be far within the Federation jurisdiction. if engineering and I can focus the sensors in more of a angular beam rather than omnidirectional, we might be able to get a little bit more information without arousing too much suspicion from a potentially new political entity that we don't know how they will respond, as the doctor has warned. And
Fair
failing
enough.
that, we have the instincts of our helm officer to pick up the slack.
I am in favor of a two-pronged approach.
Okay.
Well, Commander Ron, shall we go take apart some sensors?
So long as I can put them back together again.
That is my hope. There's always an extra piece.
Don't I know it?
All right. I've had y'all on the Slipstream screen this whole time. Dang it. I apologize for that. When I could have had you back on the
Jonas
bridge.
has just been having us do donuts in the slipstream for the past while.
Like donuts like 500 light years wide because you can't turn for shit in Slipstream.
Nope, there's no turning, there's no stopping, there is only.
Yeah, Jonas is like, so hey, we're in the Andromeda Galaxy now. Oops.
Who wants to go say hi to the Angarans?
Jesus. Okay. So, let's trot back down to engineering. We'll have Rai and Jezza down there working on the sensor controls.
Sounds good. What do you need us to roll?
Or let's do control engineering.
That sounds like her job.
Yep.
We'll make the difficulty here 1. It's a fairly straightforward task.
Okay.
So here's what I'm saying is I would love to assist, but I'm the one who wrote it down on paper, and she's the one that puts it together.
All right.
So maybe a reason engineering check? Or reason science, whichever
Yeah,
you want.
reason engineering will work.
Sounds good.
Okay. Do I get any of my... I can't... I think I may... Sorry, I'm very tonight, so like my brain is not quite working. Do any of my things help with focuses? I think
I would say your
List them
computer's focus will apply here.
Sorry, I'm all sorts of like, what the fuck is happening?
And for a task roll, you're rolling 2 dice.
And I will be assisting. Is the ship helping?
No, the ship will
Or-
not assist with this.
Gotcha. Sounds good. And she's rolling. Oh, never mind. Cool. I got a success there, and she's got 2. Boom.
Okay. So you'll have once again a couple of floating momentum.
I would suggest that we do. We create a advantage like narrow beam scanning, or narrow beam long range scanning, something like that. And so then when we actually make our sensor test, it'll reduce the difficulty further. So we just move, the various sensor arrays into a little bit more of a closer. I in my head, they're various little like rods that we've instead of like altered their kind of setup.
Kind of like isolating your chips, just moving them around.
Yeah, but at least in my head, which don't really matter. It's like remember how in First Contact, how the Borg were outside, they were hooking up all those little pods. I see it, but we're actually inside the main deflector doing the same thing, but instead of them being wide open, we make them more narrow. That's how I imagine it looks. Not that it matters. But...
Although I would also suggest maybe creating an advantage instead where the scan is like stealthy, because like
I'd be more inclined to go along with that because the Dauntless's computers already give you a bonus to your difficulty.
Sounds good, and it could work the same way because it'll be stealthier because they'll have to be specifically in the beam of our new sensors rather than just, kind of little boom or just shoots out the sensor in every direction. They have to be in our beam to even hope to ever even pick it up at the right time, kind of thing. So same kind of process visually if it were on screen, but yeah, okay. So we'll do I guess run stealth scanners, stealth sensors. That's what we got. How about that?
Yeah, so kind of like a low power active scan.
Yeah.
All right. So heading back up to, we'll head back up to the bridge momentarily here. Actually, I'm just going to put y'all on the slipstream screen again here for a minute. Bear with me.
Woo! Back to spaceship donut.
Back to space donuts. That's the best. Oh my god. Oh. The difference being that slipstream doesn't last so long this time. There we go. So the ship drops out of slipstream back at the Ciatina homeworld. And Jonas, you're receiving a hail from the planet's surface.
Incoming hail from the planet's surface, Captain.
On screen.
And hope.
Yep. Dauntless, something the Ciatina can do for you today.
Oh, we're just going to be hanging out here while we take some scans of Zealand territory. Got a better vantage point from here than where we were. Looks like there's been some sort of internal shakeup with them.
Understood. That could be concerning. It wouldn't be the first time we've had a run-in with the Zealand either. Let us know what
Has this happened before? Do you know?
We haven't kept very good track of the Zealand the last couple of years. We've been kind of busy. But any scans we would have had, any records we would have had on the Zealand probably would have been wiped out. I can look for something, but I can't promise you any results.
Well, anything you can give us is good. Because we just don't know a lot about these guys, and they're not exactly talkative.
We'll see what we can find. And
All right.
the view screen closes out.
Dawn, sorry, this might be a morbid question.
Okay.
Do I still have any Zealand bodies on the ship?
Not unless there would have been some reason for you to keep them.
Okay. Yeah. Because I thought if I still had one, then I could potentially scan for, like, communication and stuff like that. Can I still go through, like, the files I have on the Zealand to see, like, potential, whatever?
Potential what now?
Like, potential... If they have a queen, like, if it's... Like, if there's, like, pheromonal response, if there's telepathic telepathic communication.
Gotcha.
Kind of thing, or
Gotcha.
if it's, like, an act, or if it's just, like, an office kind of.
Like, yeah, I mean, y'all did some fairly in-depth scans of Zealand biology. That much you at least have.
So, yeah, I just want to, like, look through the like, notes I have to see if, like, oh, they have this particular thing in their brain, and it could mean, like, they communicate through pheromones, and it could mean this, like...
Gotcha.
That kind of, I just want to see, like, if they have anything physiologically that could represent, like, some sort of cultural interactions, like, see if they have anything that I can infer from them via their biology.
Gotcha. let me give that a couple moments of thought. And while I'm thinking about that, Ryan, let's have you make your scan, kind of your
Reason science.
yes.
Gotcha.
And
Sensor operation.
and normally I would put the difficulty at 4 for this. But the Dauntless' sensors will reduce it to 3.
Sounds good. Is it possible to turn to my my rediscovered friend, the commander, to maybe have her assist with trying to boost power to the sensors to get every bit of power I can?
Yeah, she can do that. I would say I'd say control engineering on that for Jez's assist.
Cool. Okay.
And I would think that I probably still get a focus because I can.
On that one, you will because you have power systems.
Yeah. So, Commander, if you could give me all the juice you can spare, I'm going to do my best to try to cut through as much of the subspace interface as I possibly can to get a best detailed picture.
Absolutely.
Go.
All right, so there's 2 from Rye.
I just roll 1.
Yes,
there
you
you
just
go.
rolled 1 for the assist. There's 1 from Dauntless.
And the Dauntless Red sensors.
Okay. So y'all got it.
All right. So we got it. We're good. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
So, what you are able to determine is that in the place of the older Zealand cruisers, the Zealand have deployed smaller, somewhat more nimble combat ships. Despite being smaller, however, their armor is actually appears to be more resilient than previous iterations. They also appear to have shield generators.
Captain, I'm able to pick up various tactical data of the Zealand ships. Although they have decreased in overall size, it does not seem that their combat efficiency has been reduced. Their armor appears to be sufficiently upgraded. They also have shield generators.
That's
Attach all the
interesting.
information I can to Commander Dauro's tactical database. We can transmit it to the fleet. So, can I get a free information spend, right?
Yes.
As the science officer. So, my question is, of what I can detect, so if, let's say, just for round figures, they had 100 ships of the previous design, how many ships do they currently have now, and what is the new design? Did it go from 100 ships, now 50 is the new design, 50 is the old design, or do they have 150 ships?
It's about a 2 to 3 ratio of older ships to newer ones.
So for every 2 older ships, there's 1 new one, or what's the?
Well, for every 2 of the old ships, there are 3 of the newer ones.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna feed that in. So there appears to be. So my next question: has their force gotten any better? To clarify, rather, is their force bigger, or it's the same force, just better?
You would estimate their current combat capabilities to be substantially improved.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. But is it? And I guess is the question? Is the answer to the question is? Have they upgraded their current ships, or do they have brand new ones that they've?
They appear to be brand new ships.
So I could potentially assume that the old ones are still there. They just now have a new set of them.
You're not detecting any of the older designs.
Gotcha. So they might have cannibalized them to use them as spare parts. Okay. Cool. Why include that? In the.
And if Jonas wanted to listen,
so he could certainly do so. What would he be listening for?
Jonas would like to listen to the Zealand as a whole and try and tell the differences of the song as it was beforehand to if it's a different song now.
Okay.
He's going along the lines of thinking that there's a new hierarchy, so their views and political ideas and infrastructure might change and be something different than what the new one was. And he wants to try and glean any kind of information that he can through listening to the song.
Okay. So let's have this as an insight command. I'm setting the difficulty here at 2.
Okay. My attunement focus will apply.
Yep.
What are we sitting at it for momentum? My page
You're
is covering the
you're
other
maxed.
page. Okay. Would anybody care if I grabbed a die for an extra momentum, or a momentum for an extra die?
Go for it.
Okay.
Yep, so much.
Y'all actually had a floating momentum, so that's spent.
Okay, cool. Then I will go ahead and roll and see how this goes.
Okay. Five successes.
We're just rolling in the floating momentum tonight, aren't we?
Apparently. Jonas, this new song is... Well, this is a different song from what you have heard previously, as far as the Zealand are concerned. It is harder at the core and softer at the borders. And it feels more fluid, if that makes sense.
Okay, it kind of sort of does.
Now, Dudley, having gone through Zealand biology, it appears that they do have a pheromone-based method of communication in addition to... that they use basically as another nonverbal component. Just like humans have body language, this is... the pheromonal component of language is kind of for flavor, if that makes sense. Like attempting a translation without it would not be complete.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to keep that in mind for the future, but for now I'm just gonna note it. If
Okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Captain,
Yes, Lieutenant.
it's the song that the Zealand are giving offered is different now. It's softer at the edges and harder on the inside, and it's more fluid than it was before. But you can make of that of what you will. But it is interesting to hear it. It seems to be whatever is going on right now. New power structure, new queen, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely changed something in the Zealand.
Send out a communication. An official diplomatic communication.
Aye, Captain.
That we are ready to assist if any assistance is necessary.
Okay. Hey, Don.
Yes.
Can I use... We got 3 floating momentum from that, right?
You got quite a bit, yes.
But I mean,
Can I use that...
Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Just basically it's a diplomatic olive branch type communication. Just hey, if you need anything, let us know.
Mm-hmm. Is it possible to use some of the floating momentum to word the letter or the communique in a way that would be well received by the Zealand, basically giving us an advantage in communicating with them?
I can help you with that. I have a thing for that.
So let's role play this and let's let Dauntless do their thing.
Okay, yeah, I'm all over that.
I have insightful guidance, which is I can use my knowledge of psychology to give you advantage as well as assist. So I can be like, well, according to their pheromones and biologically speaking, this would be the best way to respond to this kind of situation. And I will like use that plus my own kind of memory of losing the Borg Queen when Janeway did shit, of like kind of how like it felt, in a way of like, this is how, if one were to be empathetic, they might want to approach the situation. If that makes sense.
It does. So I'm wondering, like, I think the original idea here was to do this as a momentum spend. So I definitely would still like to see how this role plays out, but I'm not going to make anybody roll. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. So, Jonas, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna do this?
Jonas would probably actually really. He doesn't understand the tonetics of the Zealand speech patterns. So, in trying to word this, he wants to word it as best as possible to not sound affronting or condescending or damaging in any way over the fact that they did recently just lose their queen, probably within a matter of an hour or so. He wants to create this letter to be, or this communique to be inviting and open, and he's not sure on their views of sympathies or empatheticness, but I actually don't think Jonas has had all that much contact with the Zealand. So yeah, I think he would be relying on Dauntless's information and knowledge very heavily here.
Well, I would suggest perhaps it might be best not to mention the loss of their queen due to the fact that it was an encrypted message. So simply state that we noticed a change in their pattern, and if they are in distress, that we are here to offer assistance.
Basically, yes, that.
I can do that. That was very insightful. Thank you for helping me.
Of course.
And good job remembering that y'all did intercept an encoded transmission.
Ding, 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 ding! Don't mention that!
I also just realized if we had been rolling for this, technically my listener talent could have applied to this.
Mm-hmm. Jonas,
So
your mic is really hot, Jonas. Or
really
hot? Yeah, like it's.
Yeah, like the gain is super high.
Oh, let me see if I can fix.
Okay, yeah, like it's to the point where you're kind of crackling.
Is that any better?
A little bit. It's not worse, so.
I mean, technically, I'm not using a microphone. I'm using my laptop's microphone.
Gotcha. No, the gain is better there, though.
Okie dokie.
You should be able to open the settings and turn it down, though, like the input volume.
I can do that. Yeah.
Discord. It's an option for fiddling.
Is that any better?
That's actually way quieter, yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so having done that, you all send this transmission out. Do not receive an immediate response.
If there is an exchange of power happening, Captain, and they're getting used to whoever the new queen is, it might be a bit of time before we receive any sort of communications back.
Well, I'm not anticipating anything right away. In fact, I'm not anticipating much at all because the Zealand are just not talkative in our experience.
That may be true, but if this new queen is different from the old one, there's a distinct chance that there might be able to be some sort of open line of communication between the Federation and the Zealand.
This is true. However, I think as a species, they just don't have much to say.
That's true. Some species are very non-talkative. Ow! Cat! Sorry, I just had a cat
There's
bite
a lot
my
of-
foot.
I'm
Rude.
hearing a lot of brat cat occurrences.
Right, there's so much brat cat energy.
Grayson's just looking at me like she didn't do anything wrong.
It's like, bitch, you just bit me. Okay, so you do, however, detect two Zealand ships that have just engaged in an intercept course from the nearby outpost, which, again, about a light year out. So it's going to be probably about 10-15 minutes before they arrive at the speed they're going.
They're coming here.
Yes. They're headed for the Ciatina system.
Captain, I'm picking up two Zealand ships on an intercept course for our position. We've got maybe 15 minutes.
Let the Ciatina know.
Aye, Commanders. Aye, Captain, sending them information away.
I will be right back.
And also send a
Oh.
hail that to the Zealand ships that we might want to meet them outside the system.
Be right back.
Okie dokie.
Maverick. Maverick.
Okie dokie, I'm back.
Yay.
Maverick. Oh my god, she's being such a brat.
All right, so we are going to advance time a little bit. The Zealand make no acknowledgement of having received the Dauntless's message, but do drop out of warp at the edge of the system rather than coming into the system.
And we will meet them there.
Okay. All right, give me just a moment. We'll just leave that in the corner there. And I'll pull you all over onto this screen, even though I am still kind of working on it.
Oh, look at the tiny little planet.
It's a little baby. By the way, during our shore leave, did we get a ship cat?
Y'all tell me.
I think we agreed last session, yes.
Wait, no Epo breathing fire?
No.
No.
Okay, ship cat.
I can bury my face in its soft belly.
Aw, and get clawed to death.
Once Jezza realizes there's a ship cat, she takes a picture and she pins a picture by one of the beams in the engineering room or engineering deck. She just tapes this picture of a cat to a pillar.
Tape this picture of a cat to engineering just because.
Yep.
All right. So Dauntless comes out to the edge of the system, and realistically, this planet would be like just a frickin' speck, but we'll have it there for flavor. And the Zealand ships appear to be just keeping station.
How do these new designs look compared to the old ones from someone like Jonas's perspective?
Well, I'm not entirely sure what you're asking.
Are they more aerodynamic? Are they sleeker designed? I know they're smaller, but design-wise, does it have any advanced? Words are hard.
Sometimes, yes.
Oh, there's a sun.
Yeah, every once in a while I like to actually add a freaking background. So.
That's perfectly fine.
So we're not floating in the endless void of space.
Basically, yes. I mean, there's something to be said about endless voids. Mostly the fact that you're not in one. Dauntless has been in one before. That was not fun.
Are they hailing? Are they...
They are not.
Hail them, sure. What the hell?
Hailing them, Captain.
So the channel is open. It's a long moment before they say anything at all. And you're starting to wonder if the channel has in fact been opened when you finally get a response from them. USS Dauntless, you asked if you could be of assistance.
Yes, we did.
You may.
Yeah, I am totally scanning to make sure they're not about ready to shoot us. Because that sounds like that you're going to assist us in a weapons test.
Except that's my job.
As soon as he says that, I'm scanning either way.
We're at yellow alert, so we're fine.
Yeah, I'm totally... I'm scanning something. The second he starts acting like a Romulan, I'm going to be like, I know that phrase.
Looks to Shiana. Shiana's already scanning.
So we have two people.
It's kind of like Shiana and I are very upset that we're not telepathic. We think the same things, just in two separate bodies.
All right. Now, I want to know what the Zealand are saying.
You may be of assistance to us. We wish to broker a more permanent peace with the powers of the Alpha Quadrant. Please summon them and meet us in the Felathrine system in a week.
Huh. And Bianca just kind of like... Bianca sensing sincerity off of them? Yes, no?
Their minds are still alien. They're like there's still a component of their language that seems to be missing, but as far as you can tell, they do appear to be sincere.
Very well. I will speak to the Alpha Quadrant Alliance.
Thank you, Dauntless. With that, they close the channel, turn about, and engage warp. Oops. And the entire star field disappears. No, I'm kidding.
Holy shit!
What a twist!
The ship doesn't move. Space moves around the ship.
Right.
That's what you get for using a dark matter engine.
So with their typical shortness of communication, they have warped out.
I'm one for very good endings, but that seemed almost too good to be true.
You're not.
There was not anything good about that.
You're not the only one who thinks that, Lieutenant. Can't be that easy.
I would like to think it could be that easy, but after everything we've been through with these people, these beings, I don't think it's that easy. It could be that this new queen is very willing to broker a sort of peace.
Well, all the same, we should give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that they're acting in good faith until they give us reason to believe they aren't.
That's the best thing you can do.
Oh, Luoxana's gonna have a field day with this.
And Shiana thinks very loudly and in Bianca's direction. We're hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst.
And Bianca just kind of gives her a look like, duh. Like,
yeah, that's all that was
a reports on the ships too. Like,
so just so that I
Flavor
understand
text
this.
wise. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, you keep cutting it. People keep cutting out on my end, and I think it's my computer's too far away from my router, which is.
It might actually have been that
worst.
I let go of my button too soon.
That's also possible.
I'm on push to talk, and sometimes I will let go to cut myself off when I realize I'm talking over other people.
But so Jazza doesn't say anything during the whole exchange, but she just like starts fiddling with her panel to make sure that like the shields are okay and the energy output's good, and like
Yep.
we're golden, we're fine.
Yep.
She's ignoring everyone and just tap tap, not paying
Yeah.
attention.
Dauntless for her
And
Dauntless for her quirks is a brand new ship, practically speaking. She was just out of just out of the shipyard less than 2 years ago. So
but
So that I'm absolutely checking everything.
fair.
Like twice.
and Bianca just looks at Shiana and she says, what is that Latin phrase, civis pacem parabellum?
From one of the science stations in the bridge. The old Earth had a phrase, trust and verify.
If you want peace, prepare for war.
So I do have a question. When everybody was scanning earlier, did that mean we were actively scanning their ships, or was that flavor text?
I'm going to say those were active scans.
Okay, because Jonas would like to study the active scans of their new ships.
Okay. Is there anything in particular you're looking for?
He would like to understand exactly how maneuverable they are, what kind of weapon energies they're using, and then their defense, their shield, and maybe weak spots.
Okay. Weak spots I'm not going to give you.
Totally fine. Didn't expect you to.
Yeah, we didn't do a technical scan.
As for the rest, let me see.
And then once he gets all that, I do have one last question from his point of view, and then we can do whatever. It's just a curious.
Okay. Weapons seem to be ion-based. Not dissimilar to what you've encountered on previous cruisers. They also have a photon torpedo complement. Shields are not as strong as those on the Dauntless, obviously, but they do have shields, which is a noted departure from previous vessels.
Mm-hmm.
And from what you can see on the scans, the armor on the vessels is somewhat more resilient. And give me an insight security check. Difficulty 2.
Would any of my focuses apply here?
Let's take a look. No.
All right. Not too confident then, but some miracle may happen. I've been rolling really well tonight.
That is true. Okay. There's just something about the armor there. I mean, there's something else to it, but you're not quite getting a clear picture just from the tactical readout.
Okay.
Now here's a question.
Yeah.
Have the weapons been upgraded, or is it just their defensive systems?
Yes.
The last thing that Jonas is wondering about, their shield technology.
Mm-hmm.
Does it at all look familiar or resemble any form of technology that he's seen before within ships, or is all shield technology in ships pretty much the same?
At least in the Alpha Quadrant, shield technology is more or less the same. These Zealand ships, judging from the emission signature on the shields, on the shield generators, if you didn't know better, you'd say that they were very similar to Federation technology.
Jonas had a really sneaking suspicion that maybe somebody was supplying them with new technology to upgrade their ships.
I mean, y'all have been out here a couple of years.
That's true. Lieutenant Commander Rye.
Yes, Lieutenant.
Could you take a look at these tactical scans for the armor on these New Zealand ships? There's something about them, but I don't think I'm getting all the information I can just from these tactical scans.
Commander Rye will look at Commander Darov for a blessing before he decides to scan something with a wiry smile. Slowly moving to press the button. Does Commander Darrow not do anything? I just...
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
So,
What?
Lieutenant Jonas Carden says, "Hey, Rye, will you please scan the armor of this thing? It seems like I'm not getting enough info." And little bit of a loving smartass that Commander Rye is. He looks to you. He's like, with the commander's blessing, and slowly moves his hands to hit the scan button, but is waiting for you to either get mad or roll your eyes at him.
Shanna just nods at you and just do it.
All right. So I will scan the armor.
Okay. I'll have you do the same task roll that I had Jonas do, which is Insight Security. Difficulty's going to be 2.
Do I get sensor operations? Because I'm using the sensors to scan it.
No, because y'all have collected the sensor scan already. This is analysis.
Okie dokie. All right, yeah, I'll just go. Let me turn that.
I'm gonna take a momentum.
I was gonna take a momentum.
Okay.
Well, luckily we have lots of momentum.
Yeah, I'm just making sure. Why are there a bunch of? I think other people. I guess do we all share us? These characters.
So. Oh, apparently Bianca was rolling.
Oh,
I thought we all were rolling.
To look at the armor on this ship? No,
I thought you said everybody give me an insight security roll. Sorry.
Nope. Sorry about that. No, no, you don't have to worry about getting rid of the complication because you weren't supposed to roll. The only person I need to roll from is the person actually looking at this armor readout, which I'm still assuming is Rye.
Yeah, I did something to my character, and it's like transparent and flat on the screen.
Double click the title bar.
There we go.
No, he
Okay.
just broke it. Don't let him fix it. He just broke it.
He fixed it, I assume.
Kinda. There we go. Just being stubborn. Just had to get a little rough with it. So I'm gonna spend a point of momentum.
Okay.
So I'm rolling.
Yeah, momentum spent.
Cool. All right.
Okay.
I think we'd still like to get rid of the complication.
So is the computer helping me?
No. This one you were strictly
No, but you're security officer,
looking at
Mike.
readout.
If you asked.
I figured my asking was me asking permission if I could do it. So I figured she was double checking my work anyway.
All right, yeah, we'll have Shiana roll an assist on this one. I mean,
Okay.
you did make the difficulty regardless.
We have this love-hate relationship that I know more about security than I'm supposed to.
So insight security is the roll. And Shiana, as an assist, you'd be rolling 1. Okay, so you get the momentum back. I'm going to bank the complication as threat. And I will tell you, the armor appears specifically designed to ablate phaser damage.
Well, that's a fun
So-
feature.
Yeah, Captain, it seems that the armor seems to disperse energy omnidirectionally in order to, which would have a side effect of reducing any phaser impacts across the hull.
Well, that's oddly specific. They want to come to the negotiating table, but they are definitely ready for conflict with us, specifically.
Well, I mean, isn't that how most negotiations happen when you're not very familiar with the species? You come prepared?
Not that specifically.
No, I know.
I guess maybe it's an insurance policy in case things go sideways, but
Well, we at least know that they now have. Did they have photon torpedoes before?
Yes.
Okay. And they did use ion-based weaponry beforehand as well.
Correct. But they appear to have made refinements.
Well, they're better armed and better defended. Though it's kind of curious to think that they've replaced their entire fleet with these new ships in, what, a matter of an hour, if that?
A couple of days, but still.
Oh, a couple of days. Yeah, still, though. That's impressive. That is very impressive.
that's beyond impressive. That's impossible.
Or it's a plan long in the works.
You can't hide a force like that.
We're still in the nebula, correct?
You're in the sector, yes. And
Okay.
and you do recall it was a bit of a task to make it to the Zealand homeworld when you all were chasing the Timberwolf.
Captain, I actually don't think it would be that hard to hide those ships. If you remember chasing the Timberwolf, I don't normally say this, but I'm a very good pilot, and I was having to be very careful following the Timberwolf.
Still, you'd think that we would have seen something. The Shroud would have seen something.
Maybe we have seen something, we just didn't know what we saw.
Perhaps. I mean, there's no point in worrying about it now. But
I'm sure the negotiations will shed more light on the timing of all of this.
definitely.
Do
Captain.
you want?
Sorry, go ahead, Jonas.
No, Jonas was stumbling over words. He had no idea how he was going to try and say what he was going to say.
Okay. Captain, this might be a bit of a stretch, but I am attempting to follow a non-logistical path. so forgive me if this might seem far-fetched. Could the message be not directly related to the Zealand themselves, but someone that they're in some sort of conflict with?
I mean, I guess it's possible, but I don't know how we would verify that.
Is there any way to contact outlying species to see if there has been any shift in power?
Yeah, we can definitely. We've got a week to do our homework.
I fear that Lieutenant Commander Darrow has begun making me paranoid.
You're not the
Sure,
only
blame
one.
it on the security chief.
There's like paranoid. You mean prepared?
Prepared.
I mean, my character's not saying it, but thinking it. You're just a Romulan.
I'm not
We can
just anything.
We can use that word. They can't.
Gods. Y'all are killing me.
No. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. That's all we can do at this point.
Captain, is there any way to I don't know, garner our defenses against ion-based weaponry in a week?
I mean, we can look at making improvements to our shields.
You
But-
give Commander Rand, Commander Darrow, and I a week, we can work some miracles.
Don't overpromise.
Well, as our little insurance policy, I will have you, Ron, and Darrow see if we can come up with something. Even if it's just a stopgap measure for now. But I have a lot of calls to make. Shanna, you have the bridge.
Good luck with that, Captain.
Oh boy.
And we follow Captain West into her ready room.
I don't think we need to roleplay me contacting the entire Alpha Fire, do we?
Okay, fair enough.
Like,
Can I do something a little bit sneaky?
What'd you have in mind?
Just once, like, things are settled down and people are doing their thing, and I go back to medbay, I'd like to have a conversation with my brain.
Okay. So let's go to sickbay. Have to move this and then move that. Okay.
So, I would like to, like, go to sickbay, kind of close the door, dim the lights and sit in my chair
Okay.
and kind of focus for a bit,
Okay.
and then wade into the stream and see if I can get any long distance information from my friends.
Okay.
Because they're gonna be looking at things that the rest of these people aren't.
State your inquiry.
I have to look at my notes 1 second.
Okay.
species 10062. Any and all data.
Species 10062, Zealand. And your collective starts dumping data on these vessels, or on this culture, primarily focused around its combat capabilities. The Borg have fought the Zealand before, but it was not this collective.
Okay.
That being said, they're aware of Zealand armor. They have made attempts to assimilate Zealand armor, but the armor tends to break down in exposure to, well, after short periods of being disconnected from its ship. Like, it's an organic structure that has this massive tensile strength.
Relation to species 8, any relation to species 8472?
No known relation to species 8472. However, there's a strong correlation in probable biological relationship between the species 10062 and the species designated Herc.
Don't like that. Don't like that at all. Cool. I'm gonna just tell them to monitor the situation. That it is of, like, lowest relevance, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But to just continue to collect, like, passive data. That's basically what I'm gonna do.
Acknowledged.
And then I'm gonna go find Jonas.
Acknowledged. You will continue collecting passive data and relaying data to the cooperative as you deem relevant.
I just leave.
Borg
I don't need
are not
Tyrannus.
big on niceties.
Nope, that's true. Why say goodbye? You just end the call.
I'm gonna go find Jonas.
Okay.
Is Jonas on the bridge, or?
It depends on how much later this is.
So let's go ahead and advance time a little bit, and I'm going to deduct a momentum for a scene change. And we will say that the Dauntless has returned to the Felothrene system.
Okay, would we still be on Alpha Shift, or would this be a little time after?
I'd say this will be a little time after.
Okay, since he's not on the bridge, Jonas would probably be. He would probably be in a science lab.
Okay.
Oh, good. That works. Okay. I will go find Jonas in a science lab.
Okay.
He's actually working on something. There are diagrams. Once you come into the science lab, there is a holographic display of a much larger ship using ancient Bajoran sunsail technology.
Attempting another recreation.
Not exactly. Something kind of new and something kind of old. And I posted a picture in Discord.
Yep, I saw it.
It also looks a
Very
bit barred
pretty.
and a little bit blue, so
It doesn't look like a TARDIS, though.
It's just.
Did I just log myself out of the Roll20? No, I didn't. Okay, sorry. Carry on.
Am I
You're fine.
interrupting?
No, are you okay?
I am functioning well within parameters.
Okay, just checking, cause I heard some voices earlier, and I kind of assumed you were talking with the collective.
I was, and that's why I wanted to speak with you.
Okay, what's
They
up?
have some insight into the Zealand that I am loath to share with Commander Rye.
Okay.
And I know I should share with Commander Darrow, but I suppose I am having a conflict of interest.
All right, walk me through it.
I gathered information on potential assistance to damaging their structures and some of their shielding technology. However, I am concerned that with this knowledge available to the rest of the crew, attempts to be diplomatic will be ignored.
I can understand that fear. It's well founded. Sometimes, given the upper hand on species, most people would rather barge their way in than use words.
I am overly familiar.
I believe, though, that you might be underestimating the captain.
Perhaps.
As much as Lieutenant Commander Rye is the way he is, I don't think he would go that far out of lines as much to strike before we've even had a chance to parlay, as it were.
I suppose that's true. I think part of my discomfort is his attempt to group us together.
How do you mean?
I just kind of gesture to my face and like my ears.
Oh, because he's Romulan and you're Romulan and Borg. Yes, I'm assuming.
Correct. And it isn't that I don't appreciate his attempt at cultural connection. However, I do not necessarily associate myself with being Romulan. And he very clearly does.
Well, have you maybe had this conversation with Lieutenant Commander Rye?
Any attempt at conversation with Lieutenant Commander Rye has ended in severe frustration.
Fair.
There's a bit of a laugh. Well, is that on his part or is that on your part? Or a mixture of both?
I suppose it would be pragmatic to admit that it was on a mixture of both of our parts. I am not the easiest person to talk to.
Now, see, I find that very hard to believe.
The first time you met me, you collapsed.
You caught me off guard.
I do not think that categorizes me as easy to talk to. I am not approachable.
Well, we will just have to agree to disagree.
Should I attempt to smile more?
I think that you should act as who you are and what you are, and if other members of the crew aren't happy with that, you don't need to change yourself to please them.
Regardless, the information that I collected has found some similarities between the species known as the Zealand and the species known as the Herc.
Oh.
I believe they may be potential divergent evolution of one another. They are both insectoid species. They both seem capable of creating warp flight in what seems to be mere moments. If you recall, when we were at that planet, the ships came out of nowhere rather rapidly.
Well, they didn't come out of nowhere. They were buried beneath the ground. They were all the crystals.
Perhaps this is a similar situation.
Give me just a moment. He's going to wipe the screen of the lab he's at, and he's going to start pulling up any information on the Herc, and then all the information they have on the Zealand, and then try and run an analysis.
And I'll try to fill in the blanks where I can.
Okay. So what's the nature of the analysis? What are you looking for exactly?
To see if they are, in fact, indeed related on a genetic level some way. As if what Dolly had said, the Herc is like a cousin species.
Gotcha.
And actually, it would probably make better sense if Dahli were in charge of this and I was aiding Dahli.
Okay. So, let's make probably the last roll of the evening. We'll do as reason medicine. As my cats fall out of the cat tower. Hi, Rigel. Are you okay? I'm setting the difficulty at 3.
Okay.
Your xenobiology focus does apply.
Okay.
And the ship will assist with computers medicine, in addition to Jonas's assistance.
What am I rolling?
Okay.
You will also be doing reason medicine.
Can I use my daily?
Your determination? Absolutely, yeah.
Can I use my value? The price of perfection is high.
Let me see.
Or we are stronger together.
I'd go with that one.
Okay.
So, you'll get an automatic critical success in addition to your roll.
I don't have any focuses here, do I?
You do not. So far, 3 successes. And if someone wants to roll for Dauntless,
What's the Dauntless rolling? I can just go ahead and pull it up.
computers medicine. Okay, so 1 from Dauntless. So, a few things happen here. The ship's computers contact the Federation databases to get biological data for the Herc. And then it starts to perform a genetic analysis. And sections of the Herc and Zealand genetics light up one strand after another, like match, 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 match.
Look at that genetics focus. Look at it go on.
And until it reaches the end of the genetic sequence, and the computer registers a 99.874% match. And that's where we're going to call it for this evening.